guys, welcome back. Carter, BitsBeTrippin. Another quick one for you. Now this is part 3, essentially, of a series. Even though we haven't labeled it as a series, it's essentially a series where we're showing you guys the meter against various types of different cards when it comes to the 12-volt ancillary power and the riser power. So on this particular day, we are going to test 2 different cards, not just one for you. We are going to do the 3070. So this is a non-LHR card. This is the MSI Triforce or Triple X, Trio X. I don't know. It's one of the triple fan cards. Well, we'll get you the actual specifications from it here in a minute, but it is the non-LHR. And then we have the AORUS RTX. This is the ASUS 3080 Ti. So this is LHR. So we're going to just test both, and we're going to, again, the whole point of this test, if you're watching this video, is if you're doing cryptocurrency mining, is it pulling too much from the riser card if you had other non-6-pin power connected to the riser? There's quite a few people that still use the 4-pin Molex or the SATA connectors, and we're just given some exposure to what power usage is coming from these cards. So let's take a look real quick. We have Ethereum running right now. I got it sitting here up on the phone. It's doing 61.2 mega hash. Let's switch over to the screen real quick to show you guys kind of what it's doing here. 61.3 mega hash. And then if we go into zoom in on the power, so this is the riser power. So this card, moderately configured. That's 62 mega hash is about what the non-LHR cards get from the 3070s. This is optimally configured. I'll give you guys the stats of it. We're at a 1400 core, and then we're at 2400 memory and 130 watt power setting on this. So the power limit in simple mining is at 130. And here you see 35.4 watts in the lower left-hand corner there coming from the riser. So this is well within the specification. If you had a single SATA connector to a 3070 on this, it would be well within that tolerance there for a single card. And then if we switch it over to the 12-volt power, there's your delta. So 88 watts coming in from the 12-volt. So you're looking at right around 105 to 108 watts of power coming from this card. So pretty efficient. Actually, about 110. Math is not my strong suit right now. So it's actually we're up to 91 because the fan speed looks like it is setting at about 80%. So it's more like 120. So 120 watts in total for this card in total, and at 62 mega hash. Now let's switch it over real quick to Ravencoin, which will hit everything on the core and on memory, and see what we get off of that. All right, now we're switching. We're going to leave it on the 12-volt power right now for this 3070, and we're going to see what the 12-volt rel power runs up to, and here we are. So we're at just over 91. This should spin up around the same. Now, again, we haven't changed any other settings. We're keeping it at 130. Now, the difference is on a 3070, I would normally run about 150 watts to this card, so a little more, and we're going to do that in 1 second. But let's just see if you switch it over from Ethereum straight over to Ravencoin. Let's take a look at the riser power draw. And we're looking also around that 35. So it did not actually pull too much more, even though it's running Ravencoin right now. Okay, now that we got Ravencoin running here, you can see the riser power being about 40 watts, almost 42 watts, up from around that 35. So about another 7 watts there. Now we also have the power limit set to 150 on this versus 130. So that's part of why you see an increase there. Let's take a look at the 12-volt rel power. Now here's the 12-volt rel power. So now we're at 105 here. So we have a total of right there of what we have it set to, that 150 watts almost. So we're at about 146 watts total use on this card. We are showing a total of 30.51 mega hash on Ethereum using that setting. Again, this is a non-LHR card, the 3070, and we're at 30.52 mega hash on something like Ravencoin. Now let's pivot over and let's take a look at the performance of a 3080 Ti light hash rate edition. All right, my dudes, we have switched this over to the AORUS Gigabyte. This is the 3080 Ti Master card. So this is the triple fan. It has a little LCD screen on the top of it. And right now we're mining Ethereum. And we got it set over there right now. It's almost 70 mega hash. I haven't done a lot of the LHR tuning on it. However, it is pulling about the same rate that it would, even with the LHR settings on. And we can take a look right now at what the output of this card is. So let's zoom in over real quick on the 12 volt ancillary. So we're looking at 150 watts right now. This thing's set to about 230 watts right now for it. We can actually drop this quite a bit down and see what we can get setting wise. Let's drop this to about a 170 and see what we can get down there. And drop that down to where we can be right around that 180 to 185 watt total usage on this card. And you'll see it from the 12 volt rel here. So now we're coming up here, and there we are at 112, 113 on the 12 volt rel. And let's switch it over right now to see what the riser's pulling. So now we're at 44 there. So the 112 plus 44 ends up getting our total amount, and we're setting right around that 45 to 40 mega hash on this card. If you're going to run this at a lower consumption rate, a lot of folks come to me and say, you know, I know that these cards will do, you know, 70, 80 mega hash, but you know, you're on a 15 amp connection. You may have a couple of them and you're like, can I actually run these? There is an option where you don't have to run everything at full tilt. Now, it's going to take you longer to pay your ROI back, but you're not putting as hard on the card too. So having that set to 175 gets us right around 40 mega hash on this card. Now, again, this card's an 80 mega hash card. We go over to the screen real quick. It's again, the capture card's not wanting to grab that. In the new studio, we're going to have that fixed. Let's switch over and add a little more juice to it. Let's push this up to 230 watts and take a look. I'm controlling it all right now from Simple Mining from my phone. And we're going to switch this over to 230 watts on the control there. And we're going to see what that ends up doing to our power here. So as you see it restarting here. So now on the riser, we're going to be pushing closer to 55 to 60 watts total on the riser. So now you can see that pushing up to 60 watts. Now that's at 230 on the card. And this pushes us back up to around 65 to 70 mega hash on this card. And we're going to switch over and look at the 12 volt rel. And then you can see that separation back up to 150 watts on this. Now let's take a look at something like Ravencoin, which again, push it hard on the card. We're going to push this up. What I usually run the Ravencoin at is about 305 watts at 1600 core. Now we're going to switch this over. Let's see what we get. So right now it's going to push that ancillary power around. It's starting to spin up. Here it comes. It's starting to get now its work. And now we're at 200 watts, 202 there. And if we take a look at the riser pool, and there you go, 78, 77. So it's still a little less than a 3090. Which the 3090 was around the mid 80s, but this is 77 watts. So this is, if you have a 3080 Ti, you're definitely gonna want these on the 6-pin. So let's see if we can get the actual screen working. And it looks like the capture card is just freezing on that part there. So you can see on ETH it was at 65 mega hash, but it hasn't updated the screen since then. Again, that's a capture card issue for us on what we're doing there. I need to get the capture cards kind of fixed on being able to read that in real time. But Ravencoin's performance is setting at 50 mega hash on this card. You can get it at 55 if you push this card to 330 watts. So if I push this card up another 30 watts, it will get it up to 5 more mega hash on there. You know, is it worth it? If it puts out a lot more heat on the card, personally, I like leaving it at that 305 rate on these cards. You will get 50 mega hash on them, and it doesn't create the amount of heat. This card sits there and it literally sets at 56C when you're at that. It'll actually push 62, 64C if you start pushing it over 330 watts of this card with those extra 5 mega hash. Really not worth it in my opinion. But if you have a different cooling situation where you're actually chilling the air, or you have really good ambient temperatures, then you can push for those extra 5 mega hash. So this was another real quick one of just a couple cards. We're going to do a deeper dive on the dual mining. A lot of questions have been coming out on dual mining. not just how to set it up, and not even just around TON, one of the other coins that you can dual mine, but really when it looks at maximizing your farm and your hardware that you have and your power footprint to be able to get essentially 2 tokens for your effort, which then adjusts your profitability calculation and all that. So we'll do a deeper dive on that, not just on how to set it up, but just some of the math behind that and the liquidity. So if you have a much larger farm, it's a lot harder to get that liquidity back out of it because essentially you'll cause the price dumping. So this is really a smaller farm, a few rig type of thing to where you could really take advantage. The smaller farms really get that advantage over the larger farms when it comes to that, especially on low liquidity coins. But we'll do a deeper dive on that. So make sure you're liking and subscribing and following, and we'll catch you guys on the next one. Decentralization is one of the most important factors in a global cryptocurrency network. Bitcoin's proof of work functions due to the exceptional security provided by the miners of the network. Today's sponsor is Compass Mining, a company with a customer-focused experience providing a tailored approach to purchasing, hosting, or even an at-home option, allowing anyone the opportunity to participate. If this interests you, head over to compassmining.io.